Hey friends, it's Pastor Rick from Metamora United Church in Metamora, Indiana with our Wednesday devotion. But before we get into the devotion, Saturday night, April the 2nd, we are having a lovely concert at Metamora United Church. It's the first of a series called Girls Night In, featuring female singer-songwriters. This round we've got Bobby Jane Lancaster, Stacia Damos Mills, and Kara Jean Wallers. These ladies are all amazing writers, amazing musicians. You'll get to hear some great music, have some wonderful fellowship. It's free, but we will be taking up an offering to offset their expenses. So come join us. You can find that event on our Facebook page. So I've been in an interesting discussion with a fellow pastor over the past week or so, and he asked me a very pointed question. He asked me, what do I think is the church's biggest failing in this day and age? And I've had some time to ponder that, and I think it's this. We have become unwilling to go the extra mile to proclaim some good news. We do the bare minimum to kind of get by, and we're happy with that. Sometimes we just do what we need to do to alleviate our own guilt at not doing more. Y'all know that I kind of have an issue with the thoughts and prayers line of thinking, where somebody comes to us in real pain, and instead of looking for ways to really help them, we say, well, I'll pray for you, and we send them on their way. The Bible has a lot to say about that. Today we're going to take a really quick look at the story of the Good Samaritan. Most of you probably know this story, but a gentleman is robbed and beaten and left by the side of the road, and people pass by. Well, first a priest passed by him and sees this guy bleeding and battered off the side of the road, and what does the priest do? He goes to the other side of the road and keeps on walking. And then a Levite comes by and sees this fella beaten and battered and robbed. And what does he do? He goes to the other side of the road and he just keeps on walking. But then somebody very unlikely comes by, a Samaritan. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, we're in Luke chapter 10, came where the man was, and he saw him, and he took pity on him. He went to him and he bandaged his wounds. He poured on oil and wine. Then he set the man on his own donkey and brought him to an inn and took care of him. The next day he took out cash, 2 denarii actually, and gave it to the innkeeper and told the innkeeper, look after him. And when I return, I'll reimburse you for any extra expense you might have. At its core, the story of the Good Samaritan is the story of somebody who went the extra mile. He didn't stop at thoughts and prayers. He took real concrete action. And I think the biggest failing in the church today is that we have become unwilling to go the extra mile. We find easy ways out to minister to people. For example, areas that are very poverty-stricken. We have food banks where people can come one day a week or one day a month and get a box of food, and that is very commendable, and there is something really good about that. But let me ask you this. What are we doing to help those people escape poverty? In areas where where there's a high level of addiction, we might open our churches to AA or NA meetings, and that's a very easy thing for us to do, and that kind of appeases a little bit of our guilt. Look what we're doing. We're really doing something. But what are we really doing to help people escape the endless cycle of addiction? This week, the last couple of weeks, I've had a couple of really deep conversations with people who are struggling greatly with family members, one a spouse and one a sister, that they are losing to the decline of Alzheimer's. And these people are incredibly heartbroken. And they're filled with every emotion imaginable, from rage to grief to sorrow to helplessness. And the great challenge for me is, what can I do to help these people? How can I go the extra mile? It's a challenge. It'll challenge us. But let me ask you, this week, as we go into the weekend, midweek and the weekend, think about people around you that are in need of some good news. How can you go the extra mile and help them in some concrete way? Have a great day, everybody.